Before we start this video on the 2021 Land Cruiser, this is what the new 2022 redesigned Land Cruiser looks like. Very nice looking vehicle. Will have a V8 engine, also a V6 diesel, I'm told. But if you live in the United States, you'll get your hopes up, because I'm told the Land Cruiser will no longer be sold here until further notice. I understand they're already selling these in Africa and Australia, so if you want one, you better go get your plane ticket now. We're at our test facility, but you already know what's behind the door. Yep, the 2021 Toyota Land Cruiser. The last year we're going to see one in this country, so you better hurry up and get one if it's on your bucket list. All the 2022s will be sold overseas and not here. I was looking at other reviews that have been done on YouTube, as well as websites on this vehicle, and I couldn't believe how silly they were comparing this to, like, the Cadillac Escalade gets better fuel economy, or the Lincoln Navigator has better headroom. And this isn't about headroom or fuel economy. This is about a very excellent off-road vehicle, one of the best on the planet. It's about going off-road and doing it reliably. That's what this vehicle is famous for. Everything else is secondary. For example, we get a solid rear axle, as we would expect. A healthy 9 inches of ground clearance. Somewhere under there, a dynamic suspension that disconnects the sway bars in heavy off-roading. We might get some time to talk about that later. A full-time four-wheel drive system with a dual transfer case. Four-wheel drive high, four-wheel drive low. Operated by this switch here. Crawl control. Locking differential. Something called turn assist. I've never really used it. We'll explain that a little bit later as we get on the video if we get time. And under the hood, a powerful 5.7 liter V8 putting out 381 horsepower, 401 pounds-feet of torque, with 90% coming active at 2200 RPM, hooked to an 8-speed automatic transmission, capable of towing 8,100 pounds if you desire. Fuel economies rate 13 to 17 mpg. I know, a bit on the low side, but this is a tank. What do you expect? Not a lightweight. The bottom line, this isn't some wimpy crossover SUV or something based on a pickup truck frame. This is a true off-road vehicle that's reliable, durable, and lasts a long, long time. Used all over the world and proven. By the way, this one is the 2-row seat model. And here's how the upper tailgate opens and the lower one down here. Like so. About 8 months ago, we had a 3rd-row version. It has 3rd-row seats that fold up to the side. I didn't mention this earlier, but I am now. I think having a power-operated tailgate on a design like this is just dumb. I mean, come on. You can't lift this yourself? How weak are we? And the bottom is a semi-manual automatic. You push it with your hand, but it's electronic. How weak are people getting, for crying out loud? This is just dead weight. Honestly, there's no logical reason for these to be power operated. They're too simple to use manually without a power system, but that's the way it is, so. These are not cheap, running around 85 to 95,000. This one's around 92 grand. No, the cabin's nothing fancy, but there is another alternative if you want something upgraded. If you like the mechanicals of a Toyota Land Cruiser but want something a bit fancier, that's what the Lexus Lx 570 is for. Underneath, it's the same vehicle as the Land Cruiser, but a lot more luxurious, as you would expect from Lexus, which is why it has a far higher price tag. We did a test and video on that vehicle. You can click on that and watch the video at the end of this video. Or if you want the Toyota off-road action, we also have the Toyota 4Runner video we did. You can click on that video at the end of this video as well. I'm not going to cover the superficial nitpicking details on this vehicle. You get that with other videos. We're going to go straight to driving and performance. And as you can see, this one has the optional roof rack. If you're going to tow gear on top, absolutely great. No problem whatsoever. If you're not going to tow any gear on it, you need to get it off, especially if you're driving on the freeway. The wind noise, droning it makes, and the instability it causes just isn't worth it. If you're going to use it, use it. If not, get it off. You'll see what I'm talking about when we get on the freeway later. Alright, let's start this off by taking the headlights out in the dark and see what they do. It's dark enough, let's see what these headlights do. Oop! Guess I better turn them on again, huh? Here we have the low beams, only 100 feet away, very bright, good height. Good so far, go to high beam. Looks pretty good to me. And here's what the rear view camera system looks like when we're in reverse. Not the sharpest I've ever seen, but more than adequate. Sure, it will look better in the daytime. And here we have the brights on a fence line 80 yards away. The building is 130 yards away. On high beam, very widespread, good lights. Go to low beam. Reaches out, very bright. Overall, I'd rate these headlights excellent. No complaints from me. If my memory serves me right, this steering is not electric, it's hydraulic. I guess it doesn't matter because it certainly feels hydraulic, and that's what counts. Pretty responsive, good feeling feedback for basically what is a truck type vehicle. No complaints from me. As we do in all our vehicle tests, we're going to take some mild speed humps at 20 miles per hour, see how the suspension performs on impact. I can tell you right now, this is one of the best suspensions I've ever driven on a hardcore SUV. Went over that bump with ease, didn't feel much of anything. Number 2. Number 3. Here comes a nasty one. Very smooth and a very solid body. This thing is built like a tank. I think I said that earlier, didn't I? Here's a super nasty speed bump I rarely use, but I think it's going to do pretty good on this. The suspension really does a great job of absorbing impacts. That's what we're paying all that money for. And one minor complaint, that glare we get on many Toyotas and Lexus products. Got it here too, but only certain times of the day. If I move the vehicle, I could probably make this go away. Well, maybe not. Alright, that's more like it. Normally, on a vehicle like this, I get around 13 to 14 in mixed commuting, but I've been doing a lot of short trips, 1 or 2 miles at a time, where we're down to 11.2 mpg. Wowee. We're taking this on a highway test tomorrow. Should get around 16 to 17. We'll see. And we'll do some four-wheeling. So let's reset the computer and take a long highway trip. By the way, I do not like the climate controls on this vehicle. Every time you want to adjust the fan speed or the vents, you have to press this button and do the rest on the screen here, which is very annoying. But this is the last year for this vehicle. They're not going to change anything, obviously. And yes, I know the screen is dirty. It's called dust. This is the desert, and we have windstorms and all kinds of bad weather this week. And I wiped this off, and an hour later, the dust is back again. I can't do anything about it. We're going to be climbing from an elevation of 1,400 feet to 5,500 feet at the National Forest. So obviously the fuel economy is not going to be the best we've ever seen, but we'll just see what happens. We're nearly on a freeway trip on level ground. 16 to 17 mpg would be the norm for this vehicle. This V8 does a pretty good job of climbing steep grades. Lots of torque. Of course, if you keep doing this, the fuel economy will drop like an anvil. As a rule, the Land Cruiser is a very comfortable highway car. Very quiet and stable. That is, without the roof rack. With the roof rack, not so much. It's fighting the wind right now. Sounds like a hurricane's on the roof. And in crosswinds, I'm losing a lot of stability. Nothing serious, but enough to keep the steering wheel busy. Like I said earlier, if you're going to use the roof rack and put a lot of gear up there, fine. But if you're not, you need to take it off. Especially on highway trips. This shouldn't be there. And I know I'm going to get an email from a troll saying, well, why didn't you take it off, dummy, if it's so bad? Well, because when Toyota gave me the vehicle, they made it clear they didn't want it taken off. So I can't. So no emails, please. Well, 14.4 isn't the most impressive figure I've ever seen, but going uphill, passing everybody, we were driving pretty hard. Well, nobody buys a Land Cruiser for fuel economy. They buy it to take off-road. We'll do some of that. The suspension does an excellent job of absorbing these washboard ruts. They can really play havoc on a suspension on cheaper vehicles. But not this one. But then that's what we're paying for, right? Land Cruiser is a big vehicle, but not so big it can't fit in narrow trails. I think it's what I would call a true mid-size, based on the older specifications anyway. What really impresses me about this vehicle is the solid body structure. It's like driving a tank. Like it was engraved out of a solid block of steel. Very well made. But again, that's what we're paying for. We've been going over some very big rocks without bottoming out once. But that's what this is made for, right? We're going to have to cut the 4x4 video short because we're not going any further. We're camping out here for the night. In the meantime, what do I think of the Land Cruiser after a week of driving? Well, in North America, the Jeep Wrangler is considered to be the king of off-road, mainly because of its low price, parts availability, and lots of aftermarket accessories you can get. But when you go to places where off-roading is extremely serious, Australia, Africa, Middle East, what are they driving? Not Jeeps, Toyotas, Land Cruisers, 4Runners, and Tacomas. That should give you a hint. This is the king of the road. Too bad they're going to stop importing them over here next year. It would be nice to have the new 2022 model, but not for now. Especially with the diesel engines. Bottom line, if you want a new one, you better hurry. When they're gone, they're gone.